Hello, everyone. Tim and Tuesday back here again. Just wanting to bring back, a key part of our work is having ways that we know ourselves, ways that we get in touch with ourselves, practices that bring us back to who we are and a deeper understanding and knowledge of ourselves so that we can be well with others. What you got, Tim?
Well, I just think I don't know how everyone else feels, but that is the brutal reality of my life right now. There's literally no escaping myself, unfortunately. Here we are, we're in lockdown, and it's almost like everywhere I go, I meet myself, which is incredibly annoying because there's very large parts of myself I don't like. And so, so it's just that's part of the journey. It's part of it, right? It's part of it. So, and so this whole idea of personal practice, we always talk about it as essential to the work. You've got to be able to know your own stuff and not get too caught up in all of the confusion of it or all of the brilliance of it. Do you know what I mean? And it's actually by knowing all of the diversity of opinions and perspectives you have inside of yourself, that enables you to then work with the diversity of perspective and opinions you encounter out in the world when you're trying to do good stuff. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that and kind of our experience right now. And I just want to say that one of my primary experiences right now is boredom. And not busy, not boredom because I'm not busy. I'm either busy with the business or the kids or my wife or checking in with my family or talking to friends. It's busy. But I am it's the same stuff all the time. It's the same house. It's the same garden. It's the same trails I am walking. It is head bangingly boring. And the kind of the repetitive nature of that means that I'm meeting myself a lot. I'm meeting the part of me that can't stand boredom, for example.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone else out there is experiencing that. And so I'm having to work with that part of me. I'm having to work with that impatient part of me, the part of me that gets bored, the part of me that constantly hungers for something new, right? And kind of make friends with it.
Right.
In a way, I normally just do something with it. I just go, Well,
that's what I was thinking. It's encountering the parts of ourselves that in some ways we've structured our lives to not encounter.
Right.
Ooh,
ouch.
Well, I'm there too. It's not, it's not just you. It's that those things that because we're busy and traveling and meeting new people and talking, having all these experiences, we don't actually ever really have to work with. I'm having that experience right now with loneliness, which I need to tell you is not a feeling I've ever experienced in my life. It's just kind of like a thing I don't have. I really love being alone. I like my own company. This is kind of someone said this is your time. And I'm like, yeah.
Be lonely.
Do you know what I mean? And I was yeah, this, I do. I enjoy solitude. I enjoy my own company. And so it's been quite confronting to actually experience loneliness and to not have any place to go with that.
Yeah.
Except for myself.
Yeah.
No one can fix it for me. No one can take it away. I can be lonely when I'm around people right now. Right? Because it's mine. Right? I said something the other day, I am the only one who can accompany myself in this loneliness. And so I gotta figure it out. And some days, like today, it feels I feel curious about it. It feels like a good challenge. How will I bring in this?
I'm going to work on this and I'm going to grow.
Exactly. Let me take my little lonely parts, pull them up next to me and we'll go for a walk in the woods. But some days it's I'm lonely crying over my journal, right? You know what I mean? It's all of the things. And yet, had you asked me before this, I'd just be yeah, that's not really a thing I have, but apparently it is. And when I slow down enough and when my life loses the structure that allowed me never to look at that, here I am looking at it.
I love this idea, Cheese, that we've structured our lives to avoid certain parts of ourselves or certain patterns of behavior or deeply held beliefs or just things we don't like about our life or ourselves. We've kind of like structured our lives to ignore that. And when that structure falls away, suddenly there it is right in front of us, you know, which for me explains like, you know, I'll move from like outrageously irritated to super creative and happy to totally bored to wanting to go and explore to wanting to do nothing but watch mindless crap on Netflix, like within the space of 4 hours. Like it's just like brrr. And so it's just like this so let's move it. So there's a piece of like what this ability to have some kind of practice that keeps us grounded in, let's say it, the vicissitudes and ups and downs of all of it. Tuesday's been making fun of me because of the use of the word vicissitudes, let me tell you. Anyway, so there's some way that we've got to like, you know, so for me, I'm going out and I'm walking a lot, like, and it's physically good for me. But what I'm doing is I'm listening to a lot of music. And I'm finding it quite amazing. I'm walking at different times of day. I'm listening to music. I've got my mate Carl. Often he knows I'm going out for walks, so he's sending me music for walking. I've been sending some of that to you. But like it's actually become a quite a deliberate practice for me. And it's not the same as meditation in that actually meditation is slightly unbearable for me right now. To like sit still and be in the midst of that turmoil is almost unbearable. But actually going out walking and listening to music, there's something in that just moves things through me, right? And allows me to come back home kinder, allows me to come back to work more grounded, allows me to be able to hear my wife in a way that it's not just going through all of my own filters of shit before I actually hear any word she's trying to say. So it's just like, what are these simple things we can do just to keep all of this stuff moving through us rather than having it stuck inside us and then kind of interfering with our ability to turn up for ourselves and those around us, right?
That's right. And we're a lot alike in that often the way, at least the way in for me is through my bodies. And so a lot of running, walking, exercising. But I just want to name two different pieces. For me, the walking and running, because it's out in nature, it is the physical movement for sure, but it's also actually for me communing with nature and being outside.
Yeah.
And connecting with what we're doing to the earth, what we're allowing the earth to relax around. It feels like, you know, like the animals, all of it, like that feels like a real practice is being with nature. I happen to do it with running and walking. And then I also have an exercise class that's important. And I also, as you heard, I journal. I'm journaling a lot. I'm in front of my altar journaling a lot. I'm praying. I'm listening to music. and some days that leaves me feeling good. And some days it's like, it just helps me barely get through, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, I just want to say that, you know, like and when you said it in the space of 4 hours, I was like, yeah, I used to think like, oh, and I even feel like maybe at the beginning of this, I was like, oh, yesterday was a good day or yesterday was a bad day. Now I'm like, oh, last hour was good.
Yeah. Right.
Hour's bad. Right. It's like I'm not going to use the word. It's far more variable than
vicissitudinal even.
than I ever would have guessed. And part of me wonders, Tim, and I know we need to wrap this up, but part of me wonders if it was always this variable and I just had a lot not to notice.
Yeah.
Right. That there was just things that would take my attention. And so I feel like now my personal practices are saving me. Yeah. And they're, you know, looking different. I colored with my daughter the other day.
Yeah, I'm doing a bunch of coloring and stuff like that with the kids. Isn't it great?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, and I'm, like you said, I'm finding practices all over the place because
well, you know, and let's say it like we're called the outside because both of us have such a strong connection to nature as a place we go to find our ground, right? And it's amazing around where I live. There's just a few benches, a few places, or just spots where you can stop and sit. And my dog's got to know them now, so she'll kind of like get there and wait for me, you know.
Oh,
that's really
nice.
All right, look, folks, this is partly a setup for a podcast that's coming out called Settling In. And so we're just going to dive in a little bit more into what it means to settle in to these new patterns that suddenly we're all being forced into, where we're having to meet a lot more of ourselves, but we're also having to redesign and revisit how we work and turn up in the world and in our communities. So that's coming out too. And in the meantime, there's a previous podcast on personal practice that you could go check out. It's called Personal Practice. The link is kind of in this message. And I think there's a blog post as well, Choose.
Yep. We have both.
Right. And that's the personal work of professional growth.
Oh, is that what it's
Again,
called? Great.
see, I was trying to set you up. Look, I was trying to set you up. But like, look.
Sorry. Yeah, there is. And we're going to put it in the comments. It's called the personal work of professional growth. I'm on it. What? So good at this. I'm so good at this.
Slick, man. We are a slick newscasting team right here. This is the outside coming to you. All right, friends, take good care of yourselves. We hope the materials and the reading is useful. We hope the conversation between us is a contribution to whatever you're going through in your lives. And see you on the podcast.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye.